Game Night on ESPN Radio.
Game Night on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. John Seibel along with you, and it is dancing time. And everybody that loves East Tennessee State Buccaneer basketball is dancing to the music. That would include their head coach, Murry Bartow, who now joins us on the Subway Fresh Take Hotline. Coach, you got your dancing shoes on?
Well, I'm not tonight, but I'm ready to get them on.
I got it. I don't know what kind of a dancer you are, Coach. You know we are the Disney Network, so we have Dancing with the Stars, so we know what we're talking about. But what kind of a dance do you think you're going to give for America?
Boy, that's a great question. I'm not sure. Maybe my gosh, what would you do?
I might go with a foxtrot, maybe even a 40-step, or perhaps even some kind of, I don't know, inebriated rap kind of street stuff.
I'm more of a freelance guy, to be honest. I just get out there and start moving.
I'll be honest, I just do the white man's overbiting, and that's it. You know, or the canoe, it's just not very good. Or, you know, what's that, the sprinkler head? Never seems to work.
Sure.
You guys worked Jacksonville yesterday, Coach. I mean, this is a team that you have that all of a sudden has found just not a winning stride, but a dominating winning stride. 5 straight victories by an average of 20 points. How do you explain that?
Well, it's kind of hard to explain. You know, we got beat. We were sliding a little bit late in the year. We've had a pretty good team, pretty good year, but we lost 4 out of 5 midway through the year, kind of late in the year, and fortunately, over the last 2.5, 3 weeks, we've got it rolling back in the right direction and playing good. We've got some, obviously we've got some good players, and those guys have really stepped up, and we won a couple games before the tournament by pretty large margins to kind of get us going. Then when we went to the tournament over the weekend, we played well and guys stepped up, and fortunately we played, we're playing probably our best basketball of the year at the right time. Talking
with a dancer at this point, as you have East Tennessee State moving on to the national tournament, the Big Dance, March Madness. Murry Bartow with us here on Game Night on ESPN Radio. This is a big deal for the school, Coach, considering you guys had that stretch where you owned the Southern Conference, but after football was dropped, you had to find a new one, so now you find yourself in the Atlantic Sun and you find yourself back in the tournament. For the school, how big of a deal is this?
Well, it's a big deal. I mean, we've got really rabid fans. We average about 4,500 fans a game, which at a mid-major school is a lot. We've got really, really rabid fans. It kind of goes back to the late 80s, early 90s. We had a big-time run with some great teams led by a guy named Mr. Jennings. And so anyway, we've got great supporters, and we've got a program with very high expectations, and they expect you to get to the NCAA tournament every now and then. So I think it's big for our fans and certainly a big thing for our school.
Seemed like it was deja vu all over again because you had to go through Belmont in the semifinals to get to the championship game. And, of course, there's some not-so-great memories of the semifinal of 2008, Coach, and it's something that you've steered clear of even discussing, and I understand why. But after winning the tournament this time, what does that then do to the memory of last year and that controversial finish in the semifinals?
Well, I think each year is a new year. Each team is a completely new team, and this was a totally new group, obviously different seniors, a whole different look to the team. We really didn't bring up last year's game, to be quite honest. We did early in the year talking through some things, but as we were heading into the tournament, it just wasn't brought up. Bottom line, last year it was a controversial ending. The bottom line, we just didn't get it done. We had a lead in that game and kind of let the lead get away. And Rick Bird's a very good coach at Belmont and does a good job. But it was a controversial ending. But bottom line, we just didn't get it done. Fortunately, this year was a different story.
So East Tennessee State, Coach, going to be representing the conference in the Big Dance, and you know this. You're a smart man. You know that most people are going to say you have one basketball game left this season. Why should we believe, Coach, that there's going to be more than one?
Well, I think number one, and I think everybody's smart enough to know it's obviously going to be a difficult game. We're going to be who knows? I don't know what seed, but we're going to play probably one of the top 10, 11, 12 teams in the country. So obviously that first game is very difficult. I think what we hope for, you hope to stay away from the power-type teams. I think, to give you an example, last year Belmont drew Duke. Obviously Duke's a great, great, great program, but more of a perimeter-oriented program that gave, I think, Belmont at least a chance to compete and play in that game. Obviously, if you look up and you're playing a UConn or a Carolina with a lot of size and strength and power, you're obviously at a decided disadvantage because we just don't have the size and the strength to match up. So I think the biggest thing, we've got a really good team, but I think the big thing is who we match up against and what kind of size and power they have, and hopefully they're more of a perimeter-oriented team.
So if one of those power teams starts to break down the tape, what are they going to see, Coach, that's going to scare them? What are they going to see that might give them pause?
Well, we press a good bit. We force a lot of turnovers in our press. We run 2 or 3 different types of presses, and we're able to force a lot of turnovers and create offense off of our defense. And we've got 3 really good players, a guy named Courtney Pegram and Kevin Tiggs, and a guy named Mike Smith. We've got 3 really, really good players that can get us 60 to 70 a night, and we call them our big 3. But those 3 guys can really play. We've got some good complementary players, and I think defensively we can do some things to hopefully create some turnovers and create some offense for us.
And, Coach, you know this, too. As much as basketball is physical, so much of it is a mind game as well. The confidence that you and your players must have at this point is almost scary. What can confidence for this team do?
Well, it's big. It's big. Anybody that plays sports knows that. We were a team, again, 3 weeks ago that had just lost 4 out of 5 and really didn't think we were very good. And then we honestly started pressing a little bit more, running a little bit more. Our practices were great. We won our last 2 regular season games. I think we won one by 25 or so and the other by 20. So we had really great momentum and a great feel and some good mojo going into the tournament. And then when we got to the tournament, we won all 3 of those games by double digits. So, we feel good. Our guys are confident, and I'm sure they'll be excited to play in the tournament.
The margin of victory over their last 5 games, 35 points, 22 points, 14 points, 14 points, and then a 17-point victory over Jacksonville. That's the one that's going to stamp their dance card as they move on to the big dance in March Madness in the final 65. Murry Bartow is the head coach of the East Tennessee State Bucks. Coach, thank you so much for joining us, and enjoy your dance.
Well, appreciate you having us on, and we're looking forward to it. Thanks a lot.
All right, great having you on. Coming up next, it's all about you, Sports Nation. We want your thoughts in college basketball. I'm John Seibel. Great to have you alongside here on Game Night on ESPN Radio and ESPNRadio.com.